Guys, I am wiped out. A couple days ago, if you've been paying attention, I spoke at the Let's Grow Summit. It was this huge entrepreneur summit, huge privilege, tons of people there, hundreds of entrepreneurs, shaking hands, networking, making deals, all this great stuff. But here's the problem. I am exhausted. This is going to be kind of a shocker to some people, but I am actually kind of an introvert. I come off like an extrovert. I'm loud. Some would call it annoying. I like communicating with people, I like networking. If I am not careful, I get run down very, very fast. I can feel my energy levels like a battery draining by the second. Full disclosure, the end of the event was on Friday. Saturday, me and Kayla spent in bed the entire day, and I still felt exhausted today. So when I woke up, I realized that this is a really great opportunity to do a couple things. One, shed some light on this thing called social exhaustion, something that we all kind of go through every once in a while. And the second reason I wanted to address this because if we're not careful, it can turn into this spiral that we never come back from. And I've been there. So for example, I go to an event like this, or I talk to too many people and I start to feel exhausted. I don't want to be around people, but I force myself to do it anyway. I don't fill my cup, which then I start to feel emotionally drained, low energy, all of the above. Now, because of my low energy, I don't want to work. I don't want to do the work. I just want to be alone. Just want to lay in bed. And because I want to lay in bed all day, I don't want to be around people, which then makes me feel bad. See the cycle here? To stop this cycle from ever starting, I've kind of learned that there's a few things that I have to do in order to prevent the cycle to continue, prevent me not wanting to work and go through this weird depression thing and bounce back from a social event like this. So let's start with the first thing. So the first step is actually not what you think it might be. Most people say you should rest. For me, don't come after me. Resting made it worse. I would lay in bed, I would relax, maybe I'd watch TV, and I'd find myself, honestly, just getting depressed. What I noticed is I needed to fill my cup. The way that I would fill my cup up is by, number one, reading. Now, not just reading anything, not some just fantasy book although, I'm embarrassed to admit this, my wife did get me into, what is that stupid book called? The Court of Thorn and Roses. Maybe we'll table that for another conversation. I'm embarrassed about it. I'm ashamed of it, but listen, it's interesting. Anyway, I figured out that I needed to consume, but the thing that I'm going to consume, the book that I'm going to read, it's not just any book. It needs to be something that my future self would read. The who I want to become. At the conference I was just at, James Clear was there talking about Atomic Habits. It's a huge book that most people read, but he talks about how people start at the how, they start at what they want, which is the goal, but instead they need to start at the who they want to become, and that's the fuel in which that can propel you into making sure the habit sticks. Again, this video is not necessarily about habits, but it is about taking the steps necessary, help us not get in that rut, that funk that we all get in sometimes. And so I pick up a book, or I consume a podcast, or watch a YouTube video that my future self would thank me for later. Now, with that said, that brings me up to another point, something that people like Andrew Huberman talk about a great deal, which is getting sunlight, right? Going on a walk, whether that you do like vitamin D drips or just get the natural sunlight, there's something about it makes our mood that much better. Of course, we had to Google why. So this is what WebMD Google says. There is sufficient research to show that not having enough vitamin D can lead to depression-like symptoms. People with depression have higher chances of having vitamin D deficiency than anybody else. Really funny how I found this out. I used to live in Michigan. Now I live in the sunny Arizona. When I lived in Michigan, every single winter, I felt like I would have depression. In fact, they call it seasonal depression. Why? Because we don't get as much sunlight. So usually when I start to feel like I'm running on energy, I'm starting to feel like that funk is starting to creep in, the rut is coming, I can feel it, the spiral is about to happen, I'll take my butt outside, go for a little walk, get some sunlight, and eases it up just a little bit. So recently, I don't know how, but I just found honestly the best playlist for working out called Divorced Dad Rock. So if it's not already blatantly obvious at this point, one of the most important key things is moving your body. So as of filming this is Sunday, leading up to the week, Kayla and I like to get together and we work out together. But we take this time for a couple of reasons. One, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the week. But then two, helps clear all the cobwebs of the weekend and the rest that we took and all of that. Once you work out, once you go for a walk, once you do yoga, lift, whatever you do for your exercise, everything gets easier. It sounds counterintuitive, right? But it gives you more energy. Like, isn't it funny? Like, the one thing that we need when we're in a rut is to move our body to exercise. But it's the one thing, for whatever reason, we can't bring ourselves to do. Also, side note, Kayla absolutely hates when we film in the garage because obviously it's always a mess. We're supposed to do a bunch of like cleaning because we have the baby coming soon, so we're gonna be organizing things a little bit. But don't tell her that I was doing all this filming and then I wasn't cutting out all the ugliness of the garage. It's a garage, people. It's messy. Ready for your close-up? Well, we're talking about like a topic that you know a lot about, which is social fatigue. It's when, do you know what social fatigue is?
You're tired of being around people?
Yeah. So how do you cope with that?
I don't be around people. All right, so just like that, I'm back. Physically, am I tired? Maybe a smidge. Mentally, though, we're back. The cup is completely full, ready for another jam-packed week. So, the question I have for you is this. How do you, can you see sweat stains? No, hopefully not. How do you fill your cup after social exhaustion? Babe, any final thoughts? I don't know. No.
She says no. Make sure you comment down below with your tips, your suggestions on how to combat social fatigue. As always, like, subscribe, tell people about it. See you in the next video.